All right, everybody, welcome back to the Horn Takes podcast. You're very rough around the edges, Texas sports talk destination. I'm your host, Sean Redfern. It's Friday, folks. We made it. Made it to the end of the week. Made it to bowl season. Texas high school football playoffs, state championship games are going on right now up at AT&T Stadium. Already crowned a few state champions. They'll crown 3 more today, then 3 more tomorrow. Got some friends headed up from the Golden Triangle, Port Neches area to see those Port Neches Groves Indians take on the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears, I believe. See how that one goes. I think that one's a tough matchup for Port Neches. But a lot of good games this weekend. If you're in Arlington or around the Dallas area and you don't have anything to do today or tomorrow, I think they still do it where you buy a ticket, you can stay there all day. I could be wrong. Even if you have to go out and pay again and come back in, it is worth it. Good time. Really good high school football. Best in the country. Today we'll do our Trace Otra games, Independence Bowl edition. We'll talk about how bowl games are just a complete fucking joke. And we'll talk about those Lady Horns volleyball. Those Lady Horns volleyball team, man, they're at it again. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us a like. If you just like to listen to podcasts, you can find us at horntakespodcast.buzzsprout.com or anywhere you get your podcasts, Google, Apple, Spotify. Trace Otra Games Independence Bowl edition. Texas Tech versus Colorado, 8:15 p.m. Central kick on ESPN. Tech is a 3-point favorite. Literally the only reason I give a damn about this game is because it's a rematch of the 2004 Holiday Bowl. This was a game where Tech absolutely thumped Cal, and that dipshit Aaron Rodgers, 45-31. Or if you guys don't remember, this was the year that Texas played Michigan in the Rose Bowl and got in over Cal. And Aaron Rodgers went on a big whiny crybaby fit about how they deserve to be in the Rose Bowl, not Texas. And then they got handed a giant piece of shit by Texas Tech. Texas Tech was okay that year. Pretty good, actually. They were next year in 2005, they made it as high as a top 10 ranked team. So anytime Tech plays Cal, I'm there for it. I used to be a pretty decent supporter of Texas Tech football until I moved to Lubbock. And they're just insufferable. It's too bad that Tech fans are just absolutely insufferable. I can't do it anymore, but I'm going to make an exception this time because that's how bad I hate Cal. And that's how bad I want Aaron Rodgers to cry more. He was already crying about Texas being in the playoff. He's just a big crybaby, and he can't get over the fact that Texas is just so much better than him. Both these teams are 6-6 heading into this bowl game. They're looking for winning seasons. So not only are we playing for the Independence Bowl championship and whatever trophy or gadget or belt or whatever goes along with that, but they're trying not to be 6-7. Cal is on an absolute heater headed into this bowl game. They're winning their last 3 games. They beat Washington State, who at one point this season was ranked in the top 15, I think. They beat UCLA, who was also highly ranked at one point during this season. I believe same, mid-teens type deal for UCLA. So they've been playing their best football towards the end of the season. It's been a really rough season for these Texas Tech Red Raiders, despite all the preseason hype about how, they were probably going to play in the Big 12 championship game, and this was kind of their year, and this, that, and the other. Didn't work out for them, but they are winners of 3 straight before they went down to Austin and just got absolutely destroyed by the Texas Longhorns in the season finale. So they were playing some pretty good football before that last game. You look at both of these teams, they run the ball well. I think Cal has the better run defense, but Cal's pass defense is like ranked, it's in the hundreds, pretty sure. It's definitely towards the back end of pass defenses in the country. But here's the deal, folks. Cal is a conferenceless. They're conferenceless. They don't have a place to live. And they're playing some weird alliance schedule of Mountain West Conference games next season. So they're essentially in the Mountain West Conference. I think if Taj Brooks plays in this game, Tech is just going to absolutely pound the ball down their throats. And Cal's pass defense is so bad, I think Tech will hit some shots over the top. Tech's playing closer to home, so there may be like hundreds of Tech fans to the tens of Cal fans that show up at the Independence Bowl. Folks, the Independence Bowl is a giant dump. It's in the middle of a dump town. It is a dump facility. I can't imagine this is a destination. Maybe it is. I don't know. I guess we'll see on Saturday night on the broadcast how many Tech fans and how many Cal fans are excited about this bowl game. I know there'll be more Tech fans for sure. Anyways, we think Tech gets this one done. We're picking Tech 38-27 over the Cal Bears. They're going to do it again. They're going to break Aaron Rodgers' heart. He's going to cry. He'll probably figure out a way to blame it on Texas. He'll go on some podcasts and do horns down. And we'll just all sit back and laugh at him. Tech, 38-27 over Cal. Folks, bowl games have reached the point for me where they are just a complete and utter fucking joke anymore. We were just talking about the Independence Bowl and how much of a dump shithole that place is. And it's sad. It's sad that bowl season has sort of reached the lows that it has reached, because it didn't always used to be this way. Probably for most people, certainly for me. I remember growing up and almost all the bowl games were on New Year's Day. There were a few on New Year's Eve. There might have been some, right around, it was really from like Christmas on through the New Year. But most of them were New Year's Day. There were only a handful of these bowl games. It's kind of back, when being in a bowl actually meant something. Now all you got to do is win 6 games, and you're going to get in some random, ridiculous, stupid bowl that almost nobody's going to go to. These have to be tax write-offs for these corporations. They have to be. There is no way that they are making any kind of money because they're sponsoring these bowl games. Speaking of these corporations and sponsorships, it has gotten way too corporate. Like, way too corporate. It's the names, folks. The names of these bowls. I remember when it was just the Fiesta Bowl and the Cotton Bowl and the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. I remember that. The Poinsettia Bowl. The Sun Bowl. Now, we got the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. We got the ReliaQuest Bowl. What the fuck is a ReliaQuest? We got the Barstool Sports Bowl. And folks, I'm not going to name all these are ones I was looking at the list over the last couple days, and these are just the ones that I started laughing at the second I saw them. You got the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. You got the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. You got the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I wish that was a lie. It is not a lie. You got the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. You got the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And then this one's probably I don't know why I think this one's the stupidest, but I do. The roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. So some fly-by-night roofing company that goes by roofclaim.com sponsoring the Boca Raton Bowl. And the list just keeps going on and on. I mean, those are just a handful of the ones I saw. What the fuck are we doing? I mean, this is akin to professional athletes having little patches on their fucking uniforms. Like these little sponsorship patches. It's terrible. The names are ridiculous. The amount of bowl games is ridiculous. Real fans cannot get tickets to these games, at least any of the good ones. I mean, they'll probably let you in to the Independence Bowl if you promise to buy a Coke and some popcorn or something. But as you get closer to the New Year's Day, you start looking at the New Year's Six bowls and the playoff games. Real fans can't even get tickets to those games. There's a pretty popular Longhorn fan on Twitter who claims, and I don't know her, she claims that she's been to every single home and away game, to include bowl games, since 2012. I have no reason not to believe her. So obviously if that's true, she's a super fan, one. Two, she's given money to the program, lots of it. I mean, she's been donating for 11 years now? And my assumptions on this are that she's a season ticket holder. She's not just saying I've gone to everyone and I buy tickets, through the secondary market or whatever. Or, my family gives them. I don't. It's the way she approached this discussion. It's like she's donated. She's a season ticket holder, and she's paid to go to all these games. She said this Sugar Bowl is the first time she's never been able to get tickets through the school. And that's because sponsors get way more tickets to these things than the schools actually do. Season ticket holders at these venues get an opportunity to buy tickets to these events before anybody else gets an opportunity to do so. And so whoever owns these buildings, I don't know how all the business side of it works in terms of, I mean, you've obviously got an entity that's the bowl entity. There's a Sugar Bowl entity. And then you've got the Superdome, and then you've got the Saints. They're all kind of intertwined in this business deal somehow. So all these people get tickets, and they say, we're going to give X amount of tickets for the school. And in case of the Sugar Bowl, 13,000 each per school, which gives you roughly enough tickets for 35% of the stadium. So if you don't count the people that have to go out on the secondary market and buy tickets because they couldn't get any of the 13,000 allotted for their school, you're going to have 26,000 season ticket holders from both universities combined at this game. That's a fucking joke, man. You got opt-outs and transfer portal. In most cases, the team you get to see at a bowl game is not even close to the same team that played in the regular season. It's almost like watching a preseason game in the NFL. Who gets excited about turning on the TV in August, seriously, and watching a fucking NFL preseason game? The NFL is terrible anyway. It's terrible when the good players are playing. It is an abomination against. It's an abomination against all that is holy when it's the preseason and none of those good players are playing. So now you got 50,000 stupid ass named bowls that nobody can get tickets to. And then, for probably 60% of them, it's not the same teams that played all season long. This is like a huge letdown time for fans. Huge. You got players jumping in the transfer portal the second it's open, saying, I'm going to my new school, or I'm getting ready to go to my new school. You got guys opting out because they're going to get drafted. To me, that's a damn shame. It's a damn shame for the fans, but it's a damn shame for their teammates. And I get it, man. The game of football has become such a business, especially college football. It's not like it used to be. And I just don't understand how people allow money to just change their allegiance to everything. I don't know how you go to one school, become a part of that culture as a player, and then just pick up and leave and say, I'm going to go to this other school now. In a lot of cases, these guys are going to schools that, they've played, they will play and things like that. So yeah, these lowly bowls that start, what is it, December 15th, that'll start tomorrow on December 16th. A lot of these bowl games that already are shitty are going to become even shittier because none of the good players are going to play, or a lot of the good players aren't going to play. But it's not just the lowly, weird named bowl games that nobody gives a fuck about either. Jackson Smith and Jigba sat out last year from the playoffs. Because he was going to go to the NFL. He was going to declare to the NFL draft. Now, he says he was hurt. A lot of people say he was hurt. But there's a lot of people out there that say, no, he was banged up, but he could have played. And here's something to think about. If he was truly hurt, why wouldn't he just be hurt? Why wouldn't he just be unavailable? Why would he need to opt out? It's because he wasn't hurt. He used that as an excuse. And I'm not saying he may not have been banged up, but he used that as an excuse to opt out and declare for the NFL draft. So I don't know who was advising this young man. First of all, if your team's in the playoff, you should be playing. Unless you legitimately are hurt. So that was mistake number one by his camp or group or whatever the hell, whoever's advising this guy. Mistake number two is they came out and said he's hurt. Or no, they came out and said he opted out. And then it became he's hurt when all the backlash happened. So if they would have just said he's hurt and he's going to be unavailable, nobody would have said anything. I think they got to figure out something with these. I don't know the exact reason why these kids would go into the portal and not like finish out this year with their team. I don't know if there's like rules or something with the way the portal works. But if it is something that's caused by the portal, you know, if there is some sort of procedure that's causing these guys to have to leave, they should adjust the window or something. I don't understand why the portal opens when the season's not finished. Seems odd to me. Maybe they need to do that. Maybe they need to adjust the windows of the transfer portal. So at least these guys would have to opt out because they intend to transfer. And then I think these bowls, at least the ones that are making money, they got to figure out some kind of compensation package. These bowl sponsors got to start putting some money down for these players to coerce them into playing these games. Or else you're throwing money at a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about. We mentioned it earlier. There's too many of these fucking things. Not counting the 7 New Year's 6 bowls plus that national championship. There are 36 bowl games. So that's like 43 bowl games. That means 86 of the 130 teams, 131, it's right around in there, teams that play Division I football get to go to a bowl game. It's not exclusive enough. You're diluting the market. You're putting out shitty products. You're naming them ridiculous fucking things so someone can make some money. The way these bowl games are now is it's changing the game in a way that I don't feel like it's sustainable for the long-term future of college football. We've seen this pattern in sports. Like, we've seen these organizations in sports where their sport or their organization starts gaining some popularity. They cash in on it. And then they start changing a bunch of shit to attract new fans. Then they wind up driving all their loyal fans away, the ones that, you know, helped you become successful in the first place. And then you slowly start to implode. NASCAR did it. NASCAR decided that they needed to add stages to races where they stop the field. Everybody gets to catch back up, and then you do another stage. And then they added the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, playoffs. I don't know, you get like, I mean, I stopped watching NASCAR even before this because it was just stupid. But it is like entirely, it's unwatchable. I don't even know how it's around. I honestly do not know how it's around. It would be like you start the 100-meter dash at the Olympics. You run 20 yards and stop. You get back in the blocks. You run another 25 yards. You stop. And you have these stages. And then once you cross the finish line, like the top 10 of them or top 5 of them have to run around the track until their hearts explode and there's only one left. That's basically what NASCAR does today. Not only that, but the ticket prices. Dude, the people that like NASCAR aren't rich. The people that really like NASCAR, like legitimately liked that sport back in the day, 90% of those people don't have money at all. That 10% that showed up and dumped tons of cash were just rich people looking for something new. They like the party. But it's like $100 and something to go to a NASCAR race. and watch them fuck it up with stages. Watch them dump a bunch of dirt on Bristol Motor Speedway and have a dirt NASCAR race. Baseball slowly trying to do it too. Pitch clock, bigger bases, stupid ticket prices, advertising all over the uniforms. These big, like, corporate-y stadiums. Man, it costs to take your family to a freaking baseball game. I mean, you're about to drop like $1,000. Unless you live right there and you don't plan to eat or drink a thing. You're just going to watch the game. There is no cheap route to go to a baseball game anymore, Major League Baseball game. So they're doing all these things in the name of getting more fans. That'll just slowly start to drive the really loyal fans out. NFL, they're trying to figure out how to do it. Stupid ass rule changes. Like, oh my God, no shit. You got a bunch of fast and strong dudes smashing into each other. People are going to get hurt. Shocker. So now they're creating every rule they can create to try to make it where people don't get hurt in a game where some of the strongest, biggest, and fastest motherfuckers on the planet run into each other for 60 minutes, 16 times a year plus the playoffs. Can't tackle the quarterback anymore. Can't hit nobody hard over the middle anymore. Can't even block people when they're not looking at you anymore. Ticket prices, the NFL game. Man, I've taken the family to a few Dallas games. And we do all right. But we sit way the fuck up in the nosebleeds. I'm like even with the big ass TV. It's hard up there to not watch the TV instead of watching the game. That's where we sit. Not because I couldn't afford some tickets down there on the floor, but I'm not paying that much to go watch a football game. But you go to these Cowboy games and you look around and you go, how the hell do these people afford to be here? And then when you get in there, how do you afford to eat and drink? It's nuts. Some of that stuff we just talked about regarding these professional sports, a lot of that should start to sound familiar to some of you college football fans because a lot of that stuff is happening in college football right now. It's getting real corporate-y up in there. You got people complaining about certain stadiums because they're not nice enough for them. They don't have enough amenities for them. Man, if you can't just go to a football game for 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and just enjoy the fact that you're at a football game, like if you have to have comforts and amenities and, you know, everything has to be nice and all that stuff, you're probably like, you're at the wrong sport, dude. It's a fucking football game. I'm not saying I don't like those things. I had a buddy that used to have a suite at the Texas Rangers back at the old ballpark, and that was great because that was an outdoor stadium, and it was hot as hell in that stadium some days. Some days, it would be so still inside that stadium. Like, I think the stillest I have ever seen the world around me from like a breeze perspective was in that stadium in August one year. I believe it was either 2011 or 2012. I think it was one of the 2 years that the Rangers went to the World Series. And they were playing the Yankees. And it was so still, like if a gnat flew by, you would have felt it. So anyway, my friend having a suite for those was amazing. Air conditioning, room, weren't crammed, you know, you didn't have to worry about people piling over the top of you all the time. to go to the bathroom, go to the concession stand. So that's great. I'm not saying that stuff isn't awesome. But I didn't need it. Like if he didn't have that, like, and I wanted to go to a game, I would have went to a game, and I wouldn't have complained to say, oh, we really need some suites and some air conditioning, and I don't know. I talk about it a lot, how college football is just starting to change, and I'm not sure that it's for the better. Which doesn't mean that it's not better for some people. I just think that for the fans, for your average, everyday, like really diehard college football fan, the game is turning into something that makes it inaccessible to them, and it makes it something that is not what they fell in love with when they started loving college football. Now, I don't know if I'll be around. I don't know if it'll ever happen. But I think when you start going down this path, it's hard to turn back. And it's hard not to fuck the whole thing up. So we'll see. I don't know. Bowl games, fucking joke. Lady Horns volleyball update. So we talked about it yesterday on the show. Someone called me out on TikTok and said, please do an update on these Lady Longhorns. And I was like, yes. I knew they were headed to the Final Four. I knew they won the national championship last year. I know that Longhorn volleyball, Lady Longhorn volleyball, has been very good for many, many years. It's one of the best volleyball programs in the country over the last like decade and a half or so. You know, they're like a blue blood of volleyball. That's the Lady Longhorns. And so I did a little bit about how they were going to the Final Four. They were playing Wisconsin, another number one seed. They had knocked out Stanford, who was a number one seed, and an early loss for Texas earlier this season. And so I did that. Told the person on TikTok I sure would, and it would be on at noon on the YouTube channels. I don't know if this person got a chance to watch it or not. Hopefully they did. Hopefully they're listening today. I don't know. Or will listen today. But I watched that game last night. Man, it kind of reminded me of you guys remember back when the WNBA started and there was all those commercials, we got next. We got next. I don't know why, but watching these Lady Longhorns last night kind of reminded me of that. And I don't know if they say that in volleyball. I don't know. I don't get to watch volleyball at all. I mean, it doesn't come on many channels, honestly. But last night they go up against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a good team. Nebraska, who's also in the Final Four and had made it to the final by the time the Lady Longhorns and Wisconsin played last night. They only have one loss on the entire season, and that was to this Wisconsin team that Texas played last night. Wisconsin only had one loss as well. Lady Horns win it 3-1, 3 games to 1. I don't even know what you call it. I think it's sets. To me, it's a game. Best of 5. They won the first game, set, whatever, 25-22. Lost the second, 25-20. Had to rally into that one to get it close at the end. I mean, Wisconsin really jumped on them at the beginning of that one. And then the next 2 sets, Texas just absolutely dump trucked Wisconsin. 25-13 and 25-16. And what little volleyball I have watched, whether it's like beach or regular gym volleyball, especially this late, with really good teams, the games are close. And those games were not close. I thought the ladies that popped in this match against Wisconsin Emma Halter. I got to cough real quick. Whew, excuse me. Emma Halter, folks. I don't watch a lot of volleyball, but she was digging her ass off. I know some of the terms, y'all. She is like a machine digging spikes. Is that what you call it? Kill attempts? I don't know. She had 19 digs last, and these things were not easy. Like, if you haven't watched women's volleyball, you definitely should, because these ladies are athletes, man. Like, some of them are knocking the piss out of this thing. It's probably going. I'm surprised there's not a radar gun somewhere that shows you how hard this spike was or whatever, but they're knocking it. It's hard. I mean, this thing is coming. And these ladies are diving and freaking, like, and the crazy, not only are they getting their hands on it to dig it, but they are like popping this ball up where other people can do something with it. Watch a volleyball game. Man, watch this match on Sunday if you haven't watched. It'll blow your mind. But she had 19 digs. I said on Twitter last night, where the hell can I get an Emma Halter jersey? Because I would sport that thing. I would wear it on this show for sure. I don't know if they sell volleyball jerseys. I don't know if they sell them in big guy sizes either. So, but yeah. And she's like the shortest girl out there. So I don't know all the positions. She was one that was wearing an off-color jersey. So all the girls were wearing orange. She had a black jersey on, and they did the same thing on the other team. I have no idea what that means. Maybe it's like a free player that can always be, like, maybe they're not part of that rotation. I don't know. But she was that for Texas. Really small girl. Well, comparatively, she's probably like 6 feet or something. I don't know. But, man, she had an awesome game. Awesome game. And then, of course, Maddie Skinner. She went on a serving run like you ain't seen before in game 3, match 3, set 3, whatever the hell it's called. She had a bunch of aces right in a row. Tons of kills from the back row, which is something that you don't see. She's like I think they have to rotate around. If I remember from like 6th grade volleyball, 6th grade PE, in volleyball, you kind of rotate around over each side out or point or whatever they do. I don't know. Whatever all that stuff is called. So she's generally a net person, though. She's like one of the attackers, I guess you would call it. But she was doing that from the back position and did awesome. She had like 18 kills. And then Asia O'Neal, they kept calling it a slide play, so I'm going to call it a slide play. In the last 2 games, she ate Wisconsin's lunch with that thing. And that's a cool play for another skill type, because this girl that's setting it is setting it back up over her head to Asia O'Neal, who's kind of like looping around and then smashes that shit back the other direction. She had 11 kills, and she really kind of stepped up when Skinner was struggling, when they were really blocking the shit out of her at the net. Then you had Molly Phillips and Jenna Winnis, I think is how you pronounce her last name. They had 10 kills each. Both of them were really good early in the match. Showed up in like key points throughout the match. So congratulations to the Lady Longhorns advancing to the final for the 2nd year in a row. And good luck as they take on the number 1 Nebraska Cornhusker ladies. I don't know what their real name is. Lady Huskers. That game will be on Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Time on ABC. Nebraska 33-1. Only loss, and this was a rough loss. 3 games to none, 3 sets to none. They lost to that Wisconsin team. So I I don't think a lot of people expected this Texas team to go as far as it has this year. But if last night's any indication, I mean, I don't know that they'll win on Sunday, but they can certainly compete. I mean, I think they'll make it they'll make a match of it. And just the other thing about this volleyball mess, this volleyball business, it is a nerve-wracking sport to watch. Other than the fact that this was Longhorns playing last night, I have no affiliation with this game whatsoever, other than the fact that they were Longhorns. And I was like more nervous watching this volleyball game. Excuse me. This volleyball match than I've ever been. I think I've ever been watching a football game. It like never stops. I got no fucking clue what's happening. Both teams celebrate after every single point, so I really don't know I don't know what happened, if it was good, if it was bad. If you took the scoreboard off the TV screen, I wouldn't have a clue what was going on at all. So I don't know how these volleyball parents do it. Man, our daughter played when she was little, maybe like, I don't know, 10, 11. Obviously not as skilled. The games weren't as good. Man, I don't know if my daughter was on one of those teams, if I would have got out of that place without a heart attack last night. That's just how. I mean, it's a cool sport to watch. I mean, 100% honest. If you get a chance to watch some ladies volleyball, get a chance to watch this national championship on Sunday, you should check it out. Big football visitor weekend coming up for the Texas Longhorns. We're 5 days until National Signing Day. Transfer portal's been open for almost 2 weeks now. 3 high school guys that'll be there for sure, and all 3 of these guys are committed elsewhere. Xavier Filsame is a Florida commit, a safety, 5-star safety out of McKinney. Anthony Smith, 4-star linebacker out of Texas. He's an Aggie commit. And I think he might be an Aggie decommit. He was once an Aggie commit, for sure. And then Alex Foster, 3-star edge and Baylor commit out of Greenville, Mississippi, will be there in Austin this weekend. Then there's the transfer portal guys. Andrew Mukaba from Clemson. We talked about him the other day. Safety from the Austin area. He's crystal balled to Texas. By the way, Xavier Filsame and Anthony Smith are both crystal balled to Texas as well. Tyler Barron, Tennessee edge. Matt Golden, University of Houston wide receiver. And supposedly, we talked yesterday about the secret transfer portal guy. Supposedly, it was supposed to be Juice Wells, but somehow it got canceled or something. That's all the detail I know about that. I was really hoping it would be Walter Nolan. I'm really hoping that somehow they get Dominic McKinley to show up on campus this weekend. And then there's a few commits that'll be there from the 2024 class. Jordan Washington, tight end. Brandon Baker, offensive tackle. Jarrett Gibson, number 1 running back in the country. Christian Clark, certainly one of the top running backs in the country in the 2024 class. And then wide receivers, Parker Livingstone, who will be participating in bowl practices. Matter of fact, I think they start practice today. So that young man practicing with the Texas Longhorns. And then Ryan Wingo, big 5-star commit out of Missouri. Check us out on Monday. We'll recap this Trace Otra game, Independence Bowl edition. Start digging into the Sugar Bowl matchup with Washington. Talk about these Lady Longhorns, how they did in the national championship game on Sunday. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Follow and subscribe. Won't cost you guys a thing. We would sure appreciate it. If can email at horntakespodcast@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. We love them all. You guys have a good Friday. Hook 'em horns. Let's beat those Nebraska Lady Huskers on Sunday. Y'all get hooked.